Oh, hi, I didn't see you walk in. No, I'm not going to do that, but welcome back, everyone. It's been a while, I think. Can't even remember the last time I streamed, but anyway, I'm back. So, hi. A lot of people checking in here earlier. It's super nice to see. I see a few people commented earlier, people I don't recognize, actually. Alan there. Appreciate the sentiment. It's nice to be back and maybe make some content. I also got Doppler here and Bruce and Bluebeard and Revenant's here as well. The crew is lining up again. It's been a while. Really, we almost the last time we streamed. I know we did a testing with the new setup. So for those that are, well, that weren't part of that particular test stream, I kind of rewired all my rig here for streaming. That should make it easier, kind of turnkey to stream with a better like boom arm, more lighting, better setup with the action cam, things like that. Should make it easier to just kind of hop on and stream more than I used to. So we'll see if that pans out or not. But everyone is doing good on Retro Front tonight. Felt some like some Amiga tonight. Why not? We'll talk a little bit about VCF Midwest as well. I didn't really take any pictures or videos because I was trying to kind of enjoy it for what it was as I was there instead of like constantly living through a lens or whatever. And I wasn't really filming anything for a video. So it was nice just to kind of be present and there. But something that I had on the docket or on the back burner was, we'll switch over to here in a minute, but the Amiga 500 sitting here that you're looking at right there is an NTSC device or machine that cannot display PAL. Well, most of the games and demos on Amiga are in PAL format. That's just the way it is. And you can make that happen. One of these little guys. This is a Pat Agnes upgrade chip. And it can support switching between PAL and NTSC via software. So, ergo, then you now have a multi-region Amiga, so why not? I am indeed alive. The news of my assimilation have been greatly exaggerated. So, yeah, I'd like to get back into content now. Life has been really busy for quite a while now. Between just, things happening, going on, and then also just finding energy to create content or hopping on everything. So I'm hoping that to smooth into that now, I'm really wanting to make a video here soon because it's been so long, and I kind of want to get back into, especially going to VCF, seeing all the cool YouTubers there and all the retro gear. It made me really get back into retro. So that's one of the reasons I'm here streaming tonight, because I just like, I need to do more retro stuff. I want to do more retro things. I've been playing a lot of modern games lately, actually. Playing stuff in my back catalog, kind of turn off my brain at the end of the day. And I have, been working my way through, like, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've been working my way through Mass Effect Andromeda. Games that I started in the past but never finished, so I'm kind of plugging away at those kind of games that are hundreds of hours of just kind of grinding. The kind of game where you can kind of turn off your brain and just keep playing. So those are the kind of games I've been playing lately. But I did want to show off a couple of things that I did pick up at VCF. I didn't grab, well, we'll get to that in a minute. I didn't grab as many individual things as I have in the past. Walter Mayo, welcome. Hi, Tony, welcome back. But yeah, the show was just amazing this year. So many awesome people, so many cool exhibits. If you have any chance to go to VCF Midwest, it is, I mean, I haven't been to any of the other ones, and I would love to try those out too, but this one is just so huge. So much to see, so much to do, so many people to meet. It's just a treasure trove of retro. I mean, it's just insane. I don't think I can. There's several videos out there that I do think I could do a really good job. Ron from Ron's Computer Video put out a walkthrough video and also a actual video of the event, and he was he did a really good job with that. So and some funny jokes around it. But I did want to show off a couple of things I picked up, and like I said, less bulk this time, but some big hitters I was not expecting. That's kind of what happens with VCF. You either have the opportunity to find stuff that's real treasures, you can maybe find stuff that you weren't planning on that were just like, holy cow, I can't believe I just ran across this here. You never know what you're going to find. A lot of people had things priced accordingly too, so, people sometimes want a lot of money for the retro gear, and to me, it's just not worth a lot of money, personally at least, except one big purchase that I did make this year. Some of you already know what it is, but probably the biggest retro purchase I've ever done, to put it in perspective. And that is to say I'm cheap. I don't like spending a lot of money on retro. Over time, yes, but individual purchases, not so much. So, Evening Pixel, hello again. Thanks for that awesome video. That was great. I love that. If you guys haven't seen it, Pixel Pipes recently put out a video on the Voodoo card, which, you know, has been covered a lot, but an interesting angle. I won't spoil the surprise. Watch the video. Oh, and Power Vintage is here. Hello. I'll show you in a second. Thanks for chatting me at VCF. Power Vintage is a great Atari, it's ST, and many other things. YouTube channel, check that out. And I picked his brain quite a bit on different accelerator options for Atari ST, and I think the consensus was not right now, anyway, based on what I do with it. So, hey, Walter, welcome. Walter, I said it like a Swede now. I don't know how to pronounce it anyway. But yeah, that was a very good video, so I highly recommend watching it. So let's go through some of the things I picked up. Some stuff that was completely random and unexpected, I will say that, and then some big ones. And we're going to switch to my brand new action cam that is currently focused on the Amiga 500 sitting here. And there's actually one pickup from Geekenspiel there. He makes these awesome coasters. So I picked up one of those from him. But yeah, the action cams should help when I'm doing show and tell kind of thing here. Now it's different chair. Now I'm rigged up so I can much easier show things instead of like holding up to the camera. So I have a webcam here that allows me to kind of do an overhead, and I have a fisheye effect and everything. This Amiga is in fact not curved. It is not ergonomically curved. It is straight here, I promise. But the fisheye lens does that. The first thing, let's see if I come in right. No, that's upside down. Price sticker off. I'll leave it on. The first thing is a box copy of Redneck Rampage. Hey, Brett, welcome. A lot of cool people showing up here. And this is one of those exact examples of I'm not looking for this, but it's something I definitely would like to have. And then when I saw it in a box there, for us, you can see the sticker on it, $20. I think that's fair. But it's a complete copy of Redneck Rampage. So, and it's, again, it's not one I was seeking out, and it's not one I'm going to, like, I'm going to spend a fortune on this, but opportunity strikes like this, then, you know what, I'm going to grab it. So, this is probably the most expensive. No, not the most expensive game I bought, but I do love this era of shooters, of course, and just, I do love interplaced boxes. They're really nice. You know, all the boxes for Descent and etc. So, nice pickup. Getting into random things I hadn't planned on, but when the price is right, I love my RTS games, and this is Seven Kingdoms. I actually have not played this. I think I played a demo back in the day. Not an RTS, but $5. You know what? Yep, I'll take it. It's a nice big box. So, but it's, again, not one I was looking for. But when you have prices like this, excuse me, it's hard to pass up, especially when you have like a problem like I do. Like you can see behind me, the shelf is now at capacity. I got to start making some choices here. So, oh, cool. I saw you bought Amiga 500 VCF Southwest or Southeast. Sorry. Yeah, Amiga 500 is just, if you're going to have one Amiga, that is a really good one to have. Here's one I was not expecting at all to find. And I don't think I've ever seen this one. I'm going to overhype it a little bit here now, too, so you guys get really, like, let down and or surprised. But I had never expected to even see this one in person, let alone now own it, especially for this price. This is a box copy of Blackthorn for PC. I have played this shareware version and a demo for it a lot. I never sat down and played it for an extended period of time. Love Blizzard's art style, gameplay, and all of this. And finding this actually boxed, I don't know, I was not expecting that at all. So that was probably a fantastic pickup for me because it's, I don't know, the box is really cool. And then, yeah, right, it is an under interplay. But, I don't know, it's just, the same thing goes for that show. You just never know what you're going to find or run into. So this was on a table for $25, so that was a instant buy at that point. Bought one more thing from the same gentleman I'll show in a second here. And again, I didn't buy that many box games, but the ones I found definitely are the ones that I really liked. So, oh, that's a good idea with the RGB to HDMI mod. And I don't have that on this, and I'll go over it a little bit in a second, because right now this is being captured, but it is using just SCART, actually. Believe it or not, SCART out right now. But the RGB to HDMI mods are really good choices for a lot of the Amiga systems, because you can get really crisp HDMI out, so, which solves the whole problem with the Amiga being a 15 kHz machine. You can't just use a normal CRT or a normal flat panel to display it. Only certain ones support it. And there are a couple modern options to do it, and thanks to Power of Vintage, he gave me the hint for a Dell one that does that, but I have a few other monitors that do the same, so. This is also a surprise. So in the last couple years or now, I have randomly happened upon Monkey Island 1 for the Atari ST, Monkey Island 2 for Amiga, and I did not own any of those Amiga box, or those Monkey Island box games before. Never expected to run into them. One of those I got at VCF Midwest last year, and the other one I happened on a lot. And ATM Pandori. That's right, talk Amiga. And I have the Curse of Monkey Island since I was much younger, but I didn't have any other ones, and the one that showed up here now is Escape from Monkey Island, completing that series of big box games. This one, I had looked online and saw how much it goes for. I got this for a lot less than the market value, I would say. Again, it's not worth it that much to me, but when I can find it to then have all of those Monkey Island games, then that was hard to pass up. I honestly haven't even played this, but I kind of do want to play. I know it's kind of like so-so on reviews, if I remember right. So, but hey, Monkey Island, why not? I'm a sucker for RTS games again, and for $3, I'm not going to say no. And War Games was one of those like random games that came out with like a pseudo or a full 3D RTS that came out. I think this is a Voodoo game, so 1998. I remember this coming out of the blue, and you know it follows the. It doesn't follow the movie, but it's set in the same universe as the movie. So, but yeah, War Games, not an RTS. That's not a rebate. Maybe I should use that. The last big box game I picked up, which was an interesting one because I love Under Killing Moon. That I do have that box since I was a kid. The first game in the series is actually Mean Streets. This is the DOS version. So this is the first appearance of Tex Murphy, and it is not called a Tex Murphy game at this point. So this is also one of those I kind of wanted to have, but not enough to like pay a fortune for market rates. But then it showed up here. A good price again, so not going to complain about that. So it is really fun to find these unexpected ones. That's why I like coming into VCF with kind of an open mind without even thinking what you're looking for. Yeah, sure, you can have some in the back of your head. There's, you know, my Holy Grail compact. I'll probably never find that, but being able to find stuff like this that you're not necessarily a hunt for and just randomly see. First off, seeing them in person, because there's some boxes I saw that I'd never seen in person before that were asking hefty sums, and that's just not for me. But being able to find stuff like this, yeah, that's what makes VCF so fun to go to. I picked up just a smattering of like network cards and random cables. I got like an Amiga mouse, like an aftermarket one and stuff like that. So nothing that's super exciting. But I did grab 2 systems on this trip. One I did not buy for myself. It is going to someone else that has been on the hunt for one for a long time. That is an MSX2. He's been on a hunt for one for quite a while, and I happened to see one there for a good price. I did buy it for him, and this is not going to stay in this house. It's going to go somewhere else, but he was very happy to eventually here have an MSX2. It is an awesome machine. All the MSX machines looks amazing, and this particular one is just really nice. So that's going to go somewhere. Someone else is going to enjoy it. So I honestly haven't really messed or played with the MSX at all, so well, hello, Windows XP. I will not upgrade because Windows XP is forever. So some of you already know the biggest... Gender Wars. I do have them, actually. I do have Gender Wars, actually. Where did I go? I had somewhere. I do have the big box of Gender Wars, which I bought at VCF Midwest, believe it or not. So, no, I bought it at the... there's that recycling store in DC that I went there with Sukra, and they had a lot of big box games, just amazing amounts, and I picked up what I could carry at the point because I wasn't driving, so I had to fly back with it. But so yeah, the biggest pickup is probably the one that kind of shocked me, and after I bought this one, that kind of put the brakes on everything else, because I've never spent so much on a singular singular retro purchase ever. And if you've followed me in Blue Sky, you probably know what it is. So this is a fully refurbished Amiga 1200, and we will stream with this one, just not today. I have it on a hunt for a 1200 for a reasonable price, so I have one that's in parts, but I haven't been able to make work. The motherboard just will not recover. Sort of, yeah, there was a gentleman, I forgot his name, but he had 4 or 5 fully refurbished Amiga 1200s that he had in reproduction boxes. And he was selling them for what I felt was reasonable prices, right? I mean, they were fully recapped and serviced and everything and turnkey, and that's what I wanted. So I splurged on this one. It was kind of like, I'm an adult. I can make my own financial decision. Hey, honey, can I spend money on... No, not quite. But this is something I've been looking for a long time. And having an Amiga 1200, I'm really excited for that. We will stream with it. The problem right now is that I realized pretty quickly is that the built-in memory doesn't get you very far. So there's a memory module coming tomorrow for this one. So I'm already spending money on it, because why not? But yeah, we'll stream with this one in the future. But I am just really excited about having this one, because I haven't, again, I've had a broken Amiga 1200, and a little bit of story time now. My neighbor had an Amiga 500, and that's where I grew up or played on this one. Remember, I grew up in Europe, and there was an Amiga. Personally, like, every person had an Amiga. It seemed like, and you walked just, put it this way, I saw on the weekends everyone walking around with plastic shopping bags of just floppies that they were sharing back and forth. Like, there was an Amiga in almost every household in my street. It was ridiculous. So I played a lot of Amiga 500 with my friend, my neighbor friend, when I was a kid, and that's where I got my exposure. I didn't buy this one until probably 2005 or 2006 here in the US. This is an NTSC Amiga 500, and that was before the retro craze hit in, so it wasn't that expensive. I got the boxes behind me up on the shelf and everything. So, but yeah, so he sold all those because I guess, there's a certain demand for fully refurbished 1200s for sure. But yeah, the 2 meg that's built in to the Amiga on the 1200, for those not aware, the challenge with the Amiga is that it uses chip RAM, and a chip RAM is what the custom chips can use. And some of the stuff that lets you play games off the hard drive, the WHD load, needs memory. So certain games will not run with not enough chip memory, and that means also you can't run all the special graphics game, the AGA games on the 1200 without more memory. So I have another 8 meg module coming here tomorrow, which was another splurge. Not an accelerator, because I'm not... Maybe I'll get an accelerator later, but I'm not worried about making my 1200 as fast as possible. I just want a stock plus experience. That's kind of what I'm after. And I'm sure down the line I'll buy an accelerator and make it super fast. But I don't have a need to go super fast on Amiga. I just want to play all the games I missed out on, like the AGA games, and have a turnkey Amiga that just works. So, yeah. For this one, this has Terrible Fire 530 in here, which is kind of the junior Terrible Fire accelerator for the Amiga 500, which does give us quite a bit more horsepower than the stock machine, because stock machine is not very fast at all when you put it to the test. The Amiga 500 is an amazing gaming rig, but it is not a fast machine in any real sense of the word. So it boosts the performance considerably, which I can show. If we go here, I'm capturing this. So the way I'm doing this, actually, this is going from SCART and is going to a GBS Control Pro, one of the newer ones. I bought it from AliExpress and it arrived here recently. I have the capability to capture Amiga and stuff like that direct, but having this device makes it a lot easier. And I can do things like this. I have a little remote here, so I can I can see that the screen is a little to the side there. There we go. Now I got rid of that. So it gives you a lot of options and makes it a lot easier to capture stuff. So Amiga, interesting enough, is you'll see Amiga came out in 1985, was a 1000. Someone correct me because I could be wrong on all these dates here now, but the Amiga 1000 was real expensive when it came out, and that's not what cost Amiga to get popular. The Amiga 500 came out later. I think it was in 88 or 87. Someone can chime in there. It didn't really get big until late 80s or early 90s. That's when the Amiga 500 bundle packs came out in Europe, and those made it sell like hotcakes. I mean, that's what exploded the popularity of the Amiga platform. And that's when it was big. So really late 80s, early 90s. There were so many Amiga 500s in households across the world, and above all Europe. I mean, I'm not kidding you not. Like, I knew probably like 5 or 6 people with an Amiga 500 within like 2-block radius, if not more. It's just everyone had one, and they were sharing floppies and demos, and they went to like, parties where they were playing games together and whatever. So we'll do the mandatory system info here so you guys can see this one. And I have streamed with this one before. We did an up right after I got this upgrade. And this machine took a little while to get going upgrade-wise. So if we check the speed here, we'll see. Everyone's got to do this. This is what you do with an accelerated Amiga. You benchmark it. I don't know if you actually use it or not, but you benchmark it. So it is a lot faster than a stock machine. And it may not seem impressive here, but you compare this to the 7 megahertz that's in the Amiga 600 and the 2000, which is the same processor that's in the Amiga 500 stock. We are well and above that. But this is a 68030 Motorola processor on this card, and it runs at, I think, 33 megahertz. I didn't need, because, again, I wasn't after maximum performance. That's not what I'm looking for this machine. I wanted performance enough to play all the games smoothly, reasonably, 3D games. I wanted more memory, and I wanted more storage, and I wanted a hard drive solution. So that gets you all of that with this. But it does have an FPU, yes. I have not, 68802, so that's an FPU installed. And that's the thing, you're right, Pixel, because funny, part of it, I was like an Amiga tangential user back in the day since I didn't have one. And it's not until recently when you know how it is on retro platforms. You get really into one, all of a sudden you're just digging more and more, and all of a sudden you start picking up more and more about it. But it is a very different platform. But, if you like 16-bit computing or 80s computers or 90s computers, the Amiga is just, it's so fantastic. But yeah, so that has an FPU in there, but there's so few things that use FPU. Someone can correct me, but on the game front, I don't think you get anything out of having an FPU. It's really for like rendering workloads and like calculation workloads an FPU can help, but it really doesn't help you in everyday use at all. So, but getting them boosted to 33 megahertz here and having 4 mega memory, which is fast mem or slow mem, whatever you call it, it's not the memory that the chip uses. The chip memory is reserved for the custom chips. So I have a 512K expansion as well in the expansion slot on this machine, and that's the standard one that everyone will get back in the day. Yes, the Orchid 3D is that click. I think I highlighted in my video that I made years ago for GPU June. That's a long time ago. Hey, Mike Boy, welcome. And that click, and it's funny because since that's the Voodoo card I had when I was younger, I thought all of them had that relay and clicked, and I'm realizing I'm pretty sure. I guess we have a GPU expert in the fold here now. I think the Righteous 3D is the only one with that click relay, right? Or am I wrong? That I can actually audibly like click click when it switches. That's what I thought all of them did. Mine does still, which sounds amazing. So anyway, that's where this Amiga 500 is right now. Yeah. That's the thing is, if you want to get into Amiga today, it emulates so easy. You can emulate the entire library on, a shoebox. And a Raspberry Pi, or on your PC, or, you can get that the Pi 4 or 500, which is like a keyboard wedge computer thing. Hey, throw Amiga emulation on that thing. Now you have a retro computer, right? You can do all that emulated, so it is not hard to get into if you just want to check out the games. There are fantastic things like Amiga Vision, which is a complete bundle pack ready for all the games and all demos you might want to use in a graphical interface. Just fire up and play. It's super easy. So there's a lot of cool options if you want to dip your toe in the Amiga world, but not like, I need to install it from scratch or whatever. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at, so. Yeah, there's plenty of games that will struggle, but... So, as far as this Amiga 500 then, so we have the Terrible Fire accelerator down here. We have the dongle thing here for the compact flash card. And we'll get to that in a second here, what we need to do, because, so, the thing with the Gary chip on here, or the Agnes chip, sorry, the Agnes chip was built for this machine, right? And it can only address 512K of memory. and you need a newer one that can address up to 1 meg of memory, and that's what you need to do an expansion on the chip memory. And I'm not sure we're going to do that today, because that requires soldering and cutting and stuff, so I'll probably do that off camera. But the biggest thing I want out of this is to be able to play PAL games, because this is an NTSC Amiga and it runs 60 hertz. You cannot switch it. Apparently Windows XP keeps reminding us about official notices that expired. Good to know. I almost forgot. Like Windows 10 is coming up on end of life, it's crazy. So that's the primary purpose. I'm going to try and show here today how a game runs when you run a PAL game on an Amiga NTSC, and the game just runs too fast. And you can't get around that and can't fix that. And the thing with the NTSC Amiga, games had to be coded for it. And there weren't that many. If you look at the software library, yes, there were well over 100 games that were translated and changed to NTSC Amigas to run on US systems. But there are way more games than PAL, and pretty much all the demos you might want to run are coded for 50 hertz. So they will run incorrectly, they'll crash, they just won't run well, or they run way too fast. So having an NTSC Amiga limits you a little bit, but the cool thing then is that if you swap this chip out, this can dual change from between PAL and NTSC through software. And very easy, honestly, with WHD load, you can set the default to launch all your games on PAL, so you can have the higher resolution and or high refresh rate of the desktop for NTSC, but then switch to PAL when you're gaming, which is fine too. So we're running NTSC now, of course, because that's all this can output through SCART. Yes. Put my Amiga shell down, but let's see if we can check out a game here, as one does. And we can also check out the memory here, but we have 4 megabytes of fast RAM. Yeah, if we have another Windows XP notification, we'll kick him out here. So we appreciate the notification from Windows XP, but that's probably enough. So it has 4 megabytes of fast RAM, which is basically what's on the... oh, they're back. Maybe they've been here before. That's true. Touche. So that's what's on the expansion card, but that can only be used by certain things. The chip RAM is what's used by the actual chips, and that limits you a little bit. But this gives you more memory for other things. We have the slow RAM, which is... Yeah, the slow RAM is the expansion bay memory, which is what everyone would have had back in the day, which is just another 512K memory module that slots into expansion bay. And then the chip RAM, this is what you actually have, the 512 chip RAM. What I want for this machine... absolutely, yeah, on SteamOS, no problem. I think that I run Bazite on my... I have a Steam PC that I built for couch gaming. That's what I play most of the time, honestly, now. And you can just exit out into a full OS. I mean, it runs a regular Linux OS, and you can use everything there. I am actually considering rebuilding my machine, my regular machine here, to use Bazite or Linux distro, because I'm getting kind of tired of Windows 11 and where that's heading. So it's just getting kind of ridiculous. But anyway... The long-term goal with this Amiga is basically to have 1 megabyte of chip RAM and then the 4 megabyte of expansion and then the accelerator. Now, this machine can play every Amiga 500 game that was made. Like, it doesn't need anything more than that. So you can accelerate it faster. You could put a PyStorm, like someone mentioned. A PyStorm is a Pi that emulates a processor on Amiga and can run at ridiculous speeds. Which is cool, but then you almost have to, like, I'm going to run, like, more modern software, because it doesn't get you anything playing games from the 80s at that point, right? You can't make some of these games faster. And it gets a gray zone for me at that point on what it's worth. So that's why I modestly upgrade this machine. I want stock plus. I want a hard drive, I want better performance, a little bit, and more memory. That's what we get with this. So, let's see if we can find... I need to do this too, because I rechanged my streaming rig here so that I don't use speakers anymore. So let's see if we can find a game. Let's see. These are, I think, regular games on here. Compact flash card. So we can, here's an example. Let's try and run Cannon Fodder, and it's not going to work because it needs more chip RAM than I have available. So yeah, you need chip mem up to 1 meg to run this program. So right now I don't have memory to run this. And okay, I'm going to incorrectly state this, but the short and skinny of WHD load is a wrapper to run games that could not be installed to hard drive. They were floppy based. WHD Load basically packages all that together so you can run it from a hard drive. And that makes it a lot easier to play a lot of the games. So, but it needs more memory in general. So in most cases, you need expanded memory to run WHD Load. A stock Amiga 500 with zero expansion is not going to have a good time running WHD Load games. So in this case here, I have to make the mod to make this machine have more chip memory. So Amiga 2000 that we streamed before as well actually has what's called a mega chip upgrade, where it has like a special adapter. So it has 2 meg of chip RAM, and that's more than you would ever need on those kind of machines. So yeah, it's the thing. It's like HiStorm is really useful for the additional things you can do, and since it's flexible, you can expand it, whatever. But yeah, Bazite is fantastic, especially from a 10-foot or couch perspective. I love it because I use my PC now. I have some issues with my leg that leads me to have to put it up quite a bit. I'm fine. But being able to play on the couch with all my Steam games and my Steam library has been amazing. And the Bazite interface works so well. You just pick the game, you can set the limiter, you can change settings and everything right out of the gate with your controller. It works so well. And that's what I think Windows has been missing this whole time. And it took them a long time to get here, but once they launched that SteamOS fully, and I got a feeling they're holding off on, from Valve's perspective, they're holding off to get more NVIDIA support. Because Radeon cards definitely work better in Linux at the moment, so at least the stuff I'm doing. So anyway, let's see if we can play a game that runs too fast. I don't... Yeah... Hammer always is weird, but we'll launch PP Hammer. It's a game I loved as a kid. I played at my neighbor's house, and we'll see if we can, because it's not a huge performance increase, but it plays really weird and off somehow. It runs too fast. Not fast enough to like, whoa, it's unplayable, but it just runs a little too fast. And it is loading. That's what it's happening. Now you see here it's emulating, or it's kind of wrapping the floppy drive operation, which now we don't have to do. It's all running from hard drive, which is a huge bonus with being able to play all the games on here. PP Hammer and his pneumatic weapon. Yeah, I bought a 9070 non-XT for my Steam machine, and it works fantastic. I run ray trace games on there. I run everything I might want, targeting 1440p, 120 hertz. And sometimes I have to set some stuff down, but it works fantastic. And they keep coming out with new Mesa 3D drivers, and it has given me dramatic performance increase. So it's still early, right? So here's a fun fact. I'm using my mixer now for this stuff. I've rewired my mixer to kind of use that. I can actually show you something interesting. I'm going to turn down the right channel now. Oh. This is only the right channel. The Amiga has no actual stereo. It has 2 channels per side, if you will. So now I turn up the left. You only hear one set of instruments. Now I mix them together. That's how your Amiga music works. Let's see, I think this one is running too fast. We'll find out. Maybe not. I have to find another one. Yeah, so that's what happens. Like, you're basically going from 50 hertz to 60 hertz. And you're forcing games that were coded for 50 hertz to run at 60, and they just don't run right. So yeah, I don't think this one runs that. Let's see if we can extract a new game, because what I did is I have, on this one here, I basically put a game archive, which is like all the games I might need, and then I will copy them over and then extract them as needed. So I'll see if I can find... It would be good to have a game that we can tell. See if we can find one of the pinball games here and run the PAL version. Because I have a lot of stuff in here, and Amiga wasn't really designed to index these gargantuan folders with hundreds of games in them. It might run a little sluggish at times here, but that's all right. It's real retro. But above all, I want to showcase, before we make the actual hardware swap, and I have one of these little chip pullers here so we can do it correctly. I want to see the difference and see if we can make it work correctly. So we are going to view by name. So we have a hard list here because it's better than the icons. Come on, there we go. So I'm going to try and find Pinball Dreams here. Wow, I landed right on Pinball here. Sometimes all you need is pure skill, I guess. So there's Pinball Fantasies. Dream. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open this, and I'm going to copy these over here. Interesting enough that I've ran into on the Amiga 1200 is that you need enough memory to copy the file. So you have a large file, you need to store it in memory while it copies it. And if you don't have memory, you can't copy the file. So that stopped me dead in my tracks because I didn't have memory to copy my games over. So I'm like, what the heck? Oh, I'm still learning though. We're going to copy Pinball Dreams over here, and we're going to extract it in a second. And we're going to copy Pinball Fantasies as well. Go. I'm going to have to show all because they are LHA files that are not showing up by default. You can't. Interesting factor now, and someone can correct me, but you have to have the chip to do it, which is what I have here. You can't boot that, and normally with the Amiga 1200 you can hold it and then select PAL. Because this is a, let's see, 87, let's see, this is an 87, or sorry, 8372A, and you have to have the chip that can switch back and forth. This one is incapable of generating a PAL signal. So it cannot output PAL. You need this first, which is why we have this here. I'm going to mess with that. So you can actually quite easily, if you drop, you don't even have to do that to boot into PAL. What you can do is, if you just put the PAL from the drawer or the storage drawer into the normal use, you can then switch to PAL resolution right in, like, let me show here. So if you go into System here, and you go into Tools, that's Prefs. You go into Screen Mode here. NTSC is only available. And if I do... But what's the Agnes, though? Because that's the kicker. What's your Agnes model or version? Because the original one won't be able to do it. But then if you look in storage here, monitors, I think I already did it, yeah. So you can drag the PAL here from storage to the devs one, which I did. And I have the PAL one in here in monitors. And this is the thing that lets you select monitor modes. It's in here to say, yes, you can use PAL, but I can't select it because the chip is not capable of outputting PAL, which is why it's not there. So we'll see this when we're done with this. Then in theory, we should have PAL to switch from here. And once we have it there, we can tell WHD load to launch games in PAL just through a command or switch each one. Yep, there you go. So I have the 512K Agnes in here, which is what I have here. Now, this is the 1 meg one, so that should let us do this, which opens up the system tremendously, of course, because, like I mentioned in the beginning, it is really challenging to have an NTSC Amiga because if you're done in productivity software, it doesn't matter. But games, you want PAL. There's so many more games on PAL. Being able to switch between the two through software, even better. And the Amiga 1200 has that natively. The AGA chipset that is included on it, which is more, Advanced Graphics Architecture, I think it was called, has that built in. You can switch it on the fly natively. So no problem with that. So let's see. We have... Boy, if I could rename this, it'll be... Can I rename from here? So... Oh, yeah. I'll show in a second why this is going to be better. And then Pinball Dreams. I was going to say, I'm not an expert, so you have messed with a lot more stuff, I think. But that one I ran into myself because this NTSC Amiga I've had for a long time. But now that I accelerated it and I've learned through my Amiga 2000, I can just switch to PAL anytime. And that's when I realized, like, hey, what's wrong? Why can't I do that after I accelerated this machine? I couldn't play my games in PAL. I didn't know what was going on. And it turns out the reason is because I have the 512K Agnes chip. So that's why I then bought a new old stock Fat Agnes that should be allowed, and also allows you to do the 1 megabyte chip RAM expansion. So, because it can address 1 meg. Okay, so now we can go to shell, and bear with me here, it's been a while now, so we're going to go to, we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff in here now. And we need to LHA NX all F.L and extract Pinball Fantasies. So the LHA is just a archive file for those not aware. And you can see here directly, you're extracting disk 1, and that's what WHE load does. It packages the different disks together, because there was some of these games, or most of them, never had a hard drive installer. Slow down. Because most people, the target was the most common machine, which was a 500, possibly with a memory expansion. That's what they were targeting for most games, because that was the biggest install base. So why would they target hard drive? Some games do allow you to install on hard drive. I have a Dungeon Caller, Black Crypt, that allows you to install on hard drive from the game. You just put it in floppy, install it to hard drive, and then you can play it from there. Most games did not, but they just had no need for it. Okay, so this is Pinball Dreams that is not NTSC. And we can see here if we can figure out how that changes here now, too. We can play these games now. You can change it to PAL. That's not a problem. You can set it to PAL. I've tried. The problem is it doesn't care because this chip is not capable of outputting PAL. That's the whole problem. Once we have the new chip in, which we'll do here in a minute, then we'll have the ability to change the system to PAL completely, like from the setting resolution. You can tell WHD load to roll PAL, and you can run all the PAL stuff. It's just right now it is not capable of doing it because just the chip that is in here was not designed for PAL. It was NTSC market only chip. And I think the equivalent one exists on the PAL side that cannot run NTSC, which that's not a big deal. But if you get a newer one, you can switch it back and forth. So yes, I definitely tried, and that's how I found out, because my Amiga 2000, I could switch it. So I'm like, when I accelerated this machine, I'm like, I'm just going to switch it like I did on 2000. And then I couldn't. It didn't work. I couldn't play any of the stuff. They just run way too fast. And then I did Dr. Google. And that's when I found out about the Agnes situation. You need the newer chip here, which is why everyone puts in the 8372A, which is what I have here, into their Amigas. There are newer chips that allow you to have up to 2 mega chip RAM, but then the socket is not the same, so now you have to do some more soldering and changing out the socket. This slots directly into the existing socket from the manufacturer, so that makes it a lot easier. Okay, so now we have our games expanded here. Let's see if we can run them too. We'll find out. So I'm actually using a GBS control for this one. I bought one recently because the Amiga is finicky to capture directly to my data path. It can do it, but as you guys might remember, the ones that followed me here last year when I was streaming with the Amiga previously, or many months ago, it's really finicky to dial in exactly. I can dial in like my DOS PCs, no problem. I can keep those dialed in, but the Amiga is really difficult. So this is going directly from SCART, yes, SCART, into my GBS Control Pro. I can maybe do this. Let's see if I can do, sorry for the shaky camera now. There's the GBS Control. It sits right over there. And I have SCART going into that, and then that goes into my regular HDMI capture card. So I wanted to have this on hand just as a multi-use scaler, because yes, a RetroTink 4K would be amazing. Can't justify the price for what I use it for. So having this as my kind of catch-all, because this will do component, composite, SCART, and VGA cable, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it does all that. Plus, it has a web interface. I can go I have a remote here, and I can do this. So if I click this button here now, you can see, yeah, now I have this showing up here. So yeah, so it is really nice to have that as a kind of catch-all capture device. Does it work? Sorry for the shaky cam. So let's see if we now launch, and the menu should go away there. There's our normal Pinball Dreams. So we'll try both games, and then if they run now, we'll see if they need more memory or not. Yeah, it runs. Okay, cool. I also have a USB laser mouse that has been adapted for Amiga use. That came with the 1200, so now I have a new mouse that works very well. We'll see when we get into the game that we're going to kind of see that it runs a little too fast. So this is running NTSC still because, again, remember, this cannot switch to PAL, so the window's going to be all just messed up. Those that haven't listened to this, or untrained ears, if you will, this is running too fast. And look at how the screen is cut off at the bottom. We're on NTSC. That's the problem. And we'll see here when we play the game. This is what I... yeah, exactly. You know this, Kate, this one, because Machine Supremacy uses this. It's just running too fast. That's what happens. And that makes an Amiga with NTSC kind of limited because there's so many games available that are PAL. You can see it's already cut off because you can't even see the ball down there. Listen to the music. It's a Pinball Super Turbo Edition, but it's not super fun to play that way. So that's what we're going to fix. We're going to check this after we have done all this now. And yes, Team Pandora, it's a good call out. You can put it into, if you go here, you can basically put PAL. Yep, it speeds up everything. It speeds up the audio, the games, everything. It just runs terrible. So you can add in PAL here, like Team Pandora called out. The problem is that because this machine cannot output PAL, it just ignores it. It does nothing. So that's the kicker. So let's try Pinball Fantasies as well. We do have, here's Pinball Dreams, by the way, adapter for NTSC. We can show it real quick too. If we launch this one instead, I think the menu music actually is still a little fast, but we'll skip the introduction here. You can actually do this. This is options that they add into WHC Load, which are really nice. You know, they can give you unlimited health, you know, energy, whatever. It depends on what they put in for options. So now I can skip the introduction. I want to get to the table selection. And you see the window is in the right place. We're going to play the same table. This is the NTSC ported version that then was adapted for 60 Hertz. Listen to the music. How much slower it is. I can see everything. Right? So we can tell, yes, this is NTSC. And again, that's all this machine can output. There's some tearing there too. And I will say, I've never used her stream with this scaler before, so I'm sure there's always some squigglies we gotta figure out, but apparently doesn't like NTSC too much. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. Let's check out Pinball Fantasies, because I don't think I've even tried it on this machine. Yeah, it does. That was like the Super Turbo Edition. We went to the normal one now. If we have enough memory. Nope. Okay, we can't run that one. These 1 mega chip RAM. So you see why that 1 meg upgrade is going to be necessary, but it requires soldering and cutting traces, and I'm not sure I'm steady enough to do that on stream here. So what we're going to do now, and this is all experimental for me, I've never done this before, we're going to extract the Agnes chip, and we're going to install the new one. We're going to do it live, and we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to turn off the Amiga. It's probably a good choice. All right, so that's off now. We're going to unplug it too. It's funny because I actually forgot where the Agnes is on the motherboard, so. It's not in the spot I thought it was, but we'll find it. So what I have here is a CPU relocator to move the accelerator card out of the way. The problem with the version of the Amiga 500 I have is a revision 5, and because of that, it can't read it can't read the, I was going to say, if you just slot in a Kickstart 3.1 directly on here, it can't read it. So you need an adapter, and because it doesn't fit, I need to have an extension. It's a whole thing. It took a while and a lot of adapters to get to this point. So now the CPU socket is over here. This is where the 68,000 processor goes normally. But it's a relocator here, and this is the actual accelerator board. So this is the CPU, the new one and everything. So with the FPU, and here's the memory on that. But I probably have to take it out to get to it, so... Found it. So there's our culprit. This is the Agnes chip, so... And that's, you know, what's responsible for memory allocation, and then also, yeah, the PAL and TSC switching, so... Literally says Fat Agnes right there. They label the chips. They have like names like Paula and etc. So yes, exactly. Yeah, that's true. I wanted the ability to also switch to diagram and everything, so I got this horrible thing here, and it's not permanent, right? You can just slot this in, and I need to relocate with to be able to fit the 500 or the revision 5 is really wonky. Where the expansion or the relocator board can go, it just completely gets in the way. So that's what I ended up with. So here we are. But again, never done this before. We'll see here if I can do this properly. That is in there, but it's been there since the original, right? So whew. I want to make sure I don't pull too hard there, but yeah, I'm using a proper chip extractor, and it is in there. So yeah, I was using board flex because it's not. It's attached so-so, right? Again, these were built to cost, and they were popular and everything, but they were not, you know, again, Commodore built into to a cost, so... First try. Yeah, that's our old Agnes chip. And this is our new Agnes chip, so... See if there's an identifying marker here now, so... Yeah, that's the kicker. They look very similar, and I'm not entirely sure which direction it goes in. I could put it in with the labeling the same way, but the question is if that's correct. Yeah, that was the thing. I made sure to buy a proper tool because I was really worried that I would damage it, or to damage the socket above all as I extracted it, so... I'm trying to see if there is any identifying mark on these chips, because I don't see anything. Last thing I'm going to do is put it in incorrectly and then fry the chip, right? So, well, there's no, like... Oh, never mind. There is a pin, I think, beveled. Nope, looks the same. Again, I can use the same, like, orientation. I can just put it in like this and hope that's correct, but... 1 second. I'm getting too hot here now. There, I'm wearing my Vintage Computer Festival Midwest, of course. So, yeah, there should be a dot or indentation. I'm looking. There is a... Okay, there's a little arrow. Okay, so I see it now. There's a tiny arrow here, and I don't have auto zoom on, but it's a real tiny arrow there, so we're going to see where that goes. Yep, and there's an arrow pointing down here. So it actually does need to go in the exact same orientation. So arrow to arrow, so. Yeah, oh god, it went in sideways. Hang on. Good thing with the chip extractor, so. But it is real difficult to get it right in there. Insert joke. There we go. You guys couldn't hear it, but that was a satisfying snap as it went in. So, in theory now, it should boot up normally, and then we can switch to PAL, and we'll see what happens, right? But I got to plug in the accelerator again, because it is, well, it is here. So, and the only reason I have this long dongle here is so that I can have the memory card sticking out the expansion side here, so I can actually reach it without opening it, so... Yeah, I'll say, you're really good at kind of naturally speaking to the camera. I'm not sure how many takes you do Power Vintage, but you're really good at kind of naturally just talking. I know a lot of your videos are kind of off the cuff, it seems like. Or at least that's the impression I have, because I feel very natural, like you're just kind of speaking. And you're right. Once the camera is on, everything feels harder. I don't know, there's some videos I've done where I have like 20 takes, I kid you not, just because I keep fumbling up on the same thing over and over. You got to step away at that point, but... Now, the challenge is that all these CPU pins there have to be lined in correctly. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. So. There we go. I've learned the hard way that if something in retro pushes back or gets resistance, pause for a second and think about what you're doing, or at least double check that's what you're supposed to be doing, because you should often not meet a lot of resistance. So. Okay, in theory now it should boot up, and everything is fine. Right? No problem. Oh, I probably need to plug it in, right? I'm no expert, but I think it needs power. Oh god, don't say that, but... We got floppy. Hejsan, Christian Ivarsson. Hey, it booted. This is a good sign. I believe this is a good sign. So now we can see that the alignment is off again, so it's weird it does this, but... A lot of these things were not meant for, you know, clean capture and everything. Jag är inte norsk, jag är svensk. I'm Swedish, actually. So, I don't know about Christian Ivarsson, but he, yeah. Du är svensk i alla fall. Självklart, Amiga. So now, if we're going again to refs here now and check, we should be able to switch to PAL, in theory. Look at that. PAL is now available as an option. I wonder why that happened. Now we can switch to PAL. We'll see what the capture card does here now, because yeah, PAL uses a different size here. But now we're in PAL mode. That's it. It lets us play games in PAL. That's it. You see why this is kind of like almost a required upgrade for an NTSC Amiga. On even oh, you lived in Norway, Hartmanage? A few years ago? That's funny. I'm actually quarter Norwegian. My mom is half Norwegian. My grandpa was Norwegian. So I lived right by the Norwegian border in Sweden. It's just kind of hopping back and forth there. Now, because it's PAL here, I have to basically change the scale, right? Because it is... Can't hold it, dang it. So, in this case here, you know, I would probably set up some presets, but we're just streaming live here now. So, F it, we'll do it live. Now we can actually see how useful this is then now. To just be able to switch back and forth like that. So that should go away on its own now. We're in PAL mode now, right? So now, how do we launch those games in PAL? Well, like we hinted at earlier, and you can set PAL or NTSC in any WHD load game through the tool types, but you can also set in a default configuration for WHD load. In this case, you probably would set it to default because you want all the games to launch in PAL unless otherwise specified, because that is the vast majority of games and demos and everything are PAL when it comes to Amiga, for sure. So that I know that PAL Amigas are more desirable, but having this Fat Agnes chip, or shame Agnes, you know, you gotta live your life, gives you so much more options and flexibility. So now we have the old 512K Agnes, which is basically worthless, but still, we'll keep it. So, whoops, I should be in here. If we go into DH1 now, games. Likewise, NTSC games. Well, I can switch now, so it should be fine, but... Oh, no, that's fine. So, yeah, right now, if we launch it, it will launch in NTSC, because our system is NTSC. Whoops, I gotta actually open it first. But we can set it here to PAL, so... There we go. We can do the real PAL. So what this is here, by the way, and this is just me understanding lightly how WHD load works. These are basically the launch commands and everything you need that is needed for WHD load to run, which is why you can set some parameters at the top here. That's how this works, as I understand it. But now, again, it gives us so much flexibility because now we can switch back and forth like nothing. And it also opens up what we talked about earlier, which is be able to expand the chip memory. So now this should run at the correct speed and the right resolution. This is PAL, and we can support PAL now. And PAL has a high resolution, or at least, yeah, got a sharper opinions. Welcome everyone. I haven't said hi to everyone here, but sweet opinion and hello, Workhouse Retro Stuff. And yeah, hey Christian as well. To me, this. Oops. Yeah, I don't think it's switched to PAL. I think I know what the problem is. Stand by. I literally had this on the 1200 earlier. Let me double check something. Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion what's going on here. I had a problem with the 1200 because I forgot to copy some stuff for WHD load correctly into a location for the system to use. So let me see if I did that here. Very possible I did. Go all. Oh, I put that in there. Interesting. Did not seem like it switched to PAL there, so. Let's see, do I have editor on here? Okay, we do. So let's go to S. Ed. Up. These are the default settings. So we can do this that forces PAL video mode every time. I think that's not. Forget, I haven't done this in a while. I may have to look up again how to use Ed. I've used it before, but I can't remember now. Ooh, we can use this for using MMU. Oh, you're right. Forget it has a graphical user interface. Why would I do... Why would I do anything from command line when I can do it through here? Let's see. Well, we're troubleshooting in live here now, because the funny part is that I had the issue like this with my 1200. I did this like yesterday or 2 days ago, where I did this and I couldn't, it would not launch PAL games. And I ended up, I had just forgotten to install WHC load correctly, so it was not capable of doing, couldn't launch into PAL basically. But once I installed it, that was fine. So I'm curious here to see what is going on. We should also not have a cutoff at the bottom there, so that is really interesting. Let's see. That easier if we got something else going on. But yeah, that's why we're troubleshooting live, so. Forget it, we'll do live. Yeah, there we go. You have to have the PAL as default. We're now launched into PAL mode correctly. For some reason, the switch there doesn't work. And that might be just me doing something wrong, or put it in the wrong place. But now we're playing the game at the right speed, which is 50 hertz, which is... There we go. And we did it on the first try. These are still really good pinball games to hold up, actually. They're actually really fun to play still. I actually was testing it on the 1200 and ended up playing for quite a while. Getting a pretty good score, but... I will say, I am actually playing this through my capture, so excuse any lag or if it looks weird or anything. Yeah, Danish is, I can read it just fine, or at least give an idea. But listening to it, or Danish, I can't understand a word of it. It's fascinating, because Swedish and Danish is really close as far as language root goes. But understanding it is near impossible. Yeah. And I lived in Skåne, or school, so it took me a while. I remember moving into my apartment there in Malmö, and I had to call like set up utilities, and it took me a while. Like, could you say that again? Sorry, could you say that again? What? Sorry, say it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, these games are just terrific. I think how much utility will have increased now with our Amiga. I like you saying like, "Oh, get the letters," like I have any control over what I do in pinball. Also, sitting like this, because the computer's over here to my left, the screen is here, so I'll blame it on that anyway. But yeah, now we're launching these PAL games correctly, and that's what we needed, so... But I'm a little curious, if we now exit this... So we have these NTSC games, so will this play now if we switch this to... Not that one. If we say that this should be NTSC now, we'll see if it automatically switches that. Now, that's less of a problem. Really, you need to run in PAL for almost everything, so it's not a huge deal. But I'm curious to see if we can force this NTSC now. So I do have NTSC on there. We'll see if that launches. It should, in theory, do that, because that's exactly the switch we're talking about earlier. We'll see. Yeah, Lotus is fantastic. So if you like music and 16-bit games, Amiga is just, yeah, it worked because what's happened now is that it's using, since I changed the scaler, right? I moved all of it up a lot. We're just seeing bottom there, it's like overscan. So it is working. It launched an NTSC and should be running at the correct speed as well. Now we have a dual use Amiga and it can play everything that you might want. Yep, it runs correctly. Now again, keep in mind the ridiculousness at the bottom there because I changed the scale, right? But now, any game you play, you're probably going to play using PAL. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you? But yeah, let's check out... I think, unfortunately, that's the Lotus is the NTSC version, but it should be fine, too. I just have to make sure it's set to NTSC, otherwise it will launch in PAL mode, and then it will be that time. So... can do that. Yeah, I do kind of want that 1200, and that was my plan, to buy the replica 1200 when it came out, but then I came across a real 1200, so I'll see my thoughts on that now. It depends on the price now, because I was... that's loud. In case you were wondering if it's a big Fields production. Yeah, it's running into C because everything's shifted up, so... we'll do a stream at some point as well, but I have built a MIDI tower that is ridiculous, and what I've been finding all the games that support MIDI, the Lotus Esprit Turbo here actually supports it supports the roll on MT32. It might be, but... I'm not sure, but... either way, what it comes down to at this point, there are no games on NTSC that aren't on PAL. So pretty much when you game, you're probably going to be playing the PAL versions. There's really no reason to play the NTSC version of anything, because they were basically adapted, right? So, yeah, it is NTSC, so... which is the thing, you saw it switch there, but it might also be that I have to set the default NTSC. But again, not a huge deal, because now every game I play on this will be, you know, NTSC or PAL based. So we can find another game. Anyone have any games they like on Amiga? I can now copy over pretty much any game, almost any game. It's a bummer Cannon Fodder doesn't run, so I definitely have to do that chip memory mod. Definitely. To get 1 mega chip RAM, because at that point that machine now is what I consider complete. There's nothing else that needs to be done at that point. I guess maybe an external GoTo, I don't know, but I'm trying to think of another game. Well, Worms is on here. I think we do have to run the intro to Frontier Elite, though. We don't have a choice. It's mandatory because it's an accelerated Amiga. We're going to do the PAL version now instead, because I do have the NTSC one already extracted here. Let's see, we're going to show you by name. That's the thing. It's like, you put me on the spot. There's so many cool games on here, but it's hard to just think of all of them right away, so... that's not what I wanted to do. I just actually closed that window. There we go. games. And keep in mind, we also have, forgetting so many words and names here now. They put the camera in front of me. Yes, Chaos Engine is one I was thinking of. But yeah, those are good ones. Supercross 2 is also really good. Yeah, Super Frog, I play that quite a bit. Let's see. Dune, yeah, it really is. Dune 2 is really cool on here, too. Oh, Lemmings is probably the most iconic one you could possibly have. That's the thing. There are so many on here. Another World. Oh, spreadsheet. Yeah, why not? Guess I'm not sure if it's under Elite or Frontier. Elite. Yeah, the Frontier. There we go. Copy that over here. Oh, it came from the desert. It's fantastic. That's the game I really, at some point, you know what? I just want to sit down, have a nice drink, and play It Came From Desert, like, focus on it. Because, yes, it'd be a fun game to live stream, but it's so atmospheric. We'll definitely have to grab Lemmings. Productivity software. But think back a little bit here now. We're running a Amiga OS that's a little newer, but you think back to the late 80s, the operating system I'm using now is pretty intuitive. I mean, you can drag and drop, you can multi-select, you can resize, you can rename, you have like command line up and, I mean, like recent commands and everything. It's very intuitive to use. And it allocates memory automatically. It does. I just slapped in more memory and it knows what to do with it. Like it does all these things out of the box, and that is pretty impressive for a operating system in the 80s. Because I mean, remember in Windows world, this was pure DOS era, right? With some graphical interfaces, but mostly just command line and DOS. And here you have a graphic-based interface that does all this. And I know the Macintosh is probably the closest one that you would get for this kind of stuff, right? So, view by name. Yeah, I'm not very well rigged up here for this because I'm like twisted, but I'll suffer for my art. Let's see if we have enough memory to run Lemmings. A lot of Lemmings ones here. Well, oh, Leonardo. Let's see, which Lemmings do we need here? Just a regular one, I'm guessing. Image, files. I'm not sure which one. Both. Okay, we said Chaos Engine as well. Super Frog, I haven't played that in forever. I kind of want to check that out again. It's been a long time. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, I will eventually, like, expand and build this library. And you can find cards that have all this done for you already. What I'm hoping to do is that when I have the memory expansion for my 1200, I'll install Amiga Vision on it as well. To get, like, all the games ever, basically. It's a very good bundle. But otherwise, it also has some satisfaction in going and looking for the games, doing a little bit of work to get it to run, and not just like have all of them clickable. It just, I don't know, makes it feel more like you're doing something, I guess. Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Team Pendover, thank you. That's the thing. You get into some stuff with the Amiga I haven't even messed with, so. Yes, it is. You have to use the joystick and push up to jump. It is very infuriating. And you can buy gamepads that remap up to a button. Moonstone is great. You know what? Moonstone is fantastic. I'm terrible at it. And I've never been able to get very far, if anywhere at all. So yeah, what I'll probably do at some point is buy a gamepad that remaps up to one of the face buttons. You can do that. There are plenty of those to do that, and that probably makes Amiga games much more easy to digest, as it were. So I'm happy I'm streaming again. It's been a long time, but I missed this too. It's fun to tinker with. Oh, I think I ran out of memory. No, there we go. Yeah, ran out of memory. I don't think I can copy stuff from the S folder, unfortunately. Let's see. I'm going to do Super Frogs. Super Frog. Yep, ran out of memory. Really need that chip RAM. And to be fair, you normally wouldn't be opening these gargantuan folders like this, right? Space Hulk, Space Crusade, play that. We may have to hold off on the S games for now. It's ridiculous. Space Crusade, yep, I love that. What the Amiga to me excelled in is, like, there's a lot of, like, what I would call like janky platformers. The Amiga excelled on that for sure. But I have to reboot here. Just completely tank the memory. Yeah, we'll just do a soft reboot here. So, whoop. Use the Amiga control and reboost the machine. So, what it excelled in for me are all kind of the strategy titles. It had a lot of flight sims, but a lot of stuff. Remember, it's a computer, right? For most. Oh, that's neat looking. I went back to NTSC. So I didn't set the default to be PAL. Standby. Because I forgot to save. I set the PAL to use, but I didn't set it to save. So it went back to NTSC. I am using the venerable TAC2 joystick. Yeah. I found I didn't have any TAC2 once, and I had a friend who had an Amiga 500, like everyone in Scandinavia had either an Amiga 500 or a friend who had one. And when I went over to play at his house, he had a TAC2s. My neighbor that I played mostly had like the Commander, whatever, tall red one with a white button. But I like these TAC2 because they are tactile and very short throw, clicky. Like, can't really, maybe you can hear when I'm... It's clickety, 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 click. They're very tactile and they work really well. So that's my favorite, like, regular joystick to use. But I would love to get one of those controllers that remaps the buttons and everything. Okay, let's try that again. We'll go to... Let's open games. And yeah, I need to organize this, of course. We're just doing a hodgepodge now to play some games, so... but that's what we're here for, right? Is the games. We can also try... We're going to try Elite, of course, but we can also try... things like Stunt Race or Stunt Racer. That should probably run pretty well here with the accelerator. And that's the thing, is that most of the games will be 2D, but there are a lot of games actually on the Amiga that use 3D actual polygonal graphics. And that was kind of, you pushing that poor 68,000 processor 7 megahertz to do that. It does not do that very well, so... Yeah, so the Mega Drive and Genesis controller, to my knowledge, is you can plug it in, but I believe, and someone correct me here, but I believe that puts extra stress on the CIC chip because it's the way it's wired, it passes power back to the chip, I believe. Again, I could be wrong. So I've heard that you shouldn't use an unmodified Mega Drive controller on your console, but yeah, that's true. But it's also fun to mess and listen to these soundtracks that you might have heard from other places. So, Chaos Engine is. But yeah, I should have organized, because what I did, of course, was I took my memory card, put it in my computer, and I drag and drop like so many games. And that made it, you know, hard to parse here now. So that's where we're at. Yeah, and it's, again, to clarify, like I mentioned earlier, I'm literally looking at my capture of this when I'm doing this, because I have a panel. Well, let me back up, because I'm outputting a 1280 by 960 through the scaler, so that should be able to be displayed on my Dell big flat panel I now use for streaming here, but it will not connect unless I do it direct. So I can't split the signal. When I try to split the signal, I don't get anything on here, so I had to do this. Gotta do what you gotta do. View by name. And run out of memory. Might be a continual problem here now. Because the reason is I could go there through shell and find all of them, but then it'd be really hard. Question is if I have enough memory to copy now. Chaos Engine. Enough memory to do this. Yeah, I copied it. We got there. Somewhat. So Super Frog is possible, but we'd have to, like, I didn't think too far when I did this because I just dumped all the games in here, but I have to sort them out and filter them a little bit, and I can do that on the computer. So let's extract the ones we grabbed first here now. No games. Games. Oops. Okay, we have a lot here now. Might have, oh, that's right. I was going to rename some of them. And it's something cool you can do here, actually. There's a cleanup command that just organizes the files for you. So and that. I will say the interface thing with the Windows is not always super easy to use, but, you know, again, this was early days of kind of this multitasking, and not something you could have expected on everything. I'm going to clean up some of the stuff I already extracted, so it makes it a little easier to see. That one. So yeah, we can run some of these. I definitely have to do chip RAM, chip mem mod. Already extracted these because those were the, we did that originally because that was the NTSC games. This one will probably clean out the NTSC games because they're not going to be played really. Okay, let's rename this one. The reason I do that is because I have to type them manually in the command line. It's going to be a lot easier if the name is not ridiculous. Like I already had the NTSC one. And I went Chaos Engine as well. Okay. Now if we do dir here, it should be a little cleaner. Okay, so LHA X chaos. And the keyboard on the Amiga 500 is all right, but is not. I mean, it's perfectly serviceable, but it's not up there with the greatest keyboards ever. The Atari ST Mega that I have has a nice clicky mechanical keyboard, but this is very much like a rubber dome spongy keyboard. But again, the Amiga 500 was built to cost, and that's why it was so popular. It wasn't popular because it was high end. But right now, there's actually a lot of free production parts you can buy for these things. There is a full mechanical keyboard replacement available to buy right now for the Amiga 500, and it's for the 1200 as well. So it's pretty cool that they're still making that kind of stuff. So, all right, Team Pandora, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for all the tips, and hopefully see you next time. I think we have the, gotta check, it's Frontier NTC version might be in here still. Yeah, I'll delete that one. Be gone. We're using the PAL version instead now, in theory. But yeah, we gotta do the intro. I'm sorry, it is mandatory. Accelerated Amigas have to run the Frontier intro. Thanks, appreciate it. The if you look at any accelerated Amiga video, I will guarantee you they're showing the Frontier 2 intro because it is very demanding and is a good one to gauge performance on because it is completely polygonal 3D with a lot of effects and everything. So a stock Amiga runs it dog slow. It's actually funny because when I got this 500 again, what is it now, almost 15 years ago, and I booted up Frontier, like, oh man, I remember playing that. My friend and I would spend like sleepovers and like the entire weekend on his Amiga 500 playing Frontier and just doing like space trucking and all that stuff. And I booted up again and like I thought something wrong with the machine because it ran so bad. I'm like, did it really run this slow? Like it was just super slow. I mean, frame rates in the single digits all the time. And I'm like, I gotta look. And I went and found a YouTube video. I'm like, oh nope, that's exactly how it ran. It just ran like crap. So that's where an accelerated Amiga gets over that hump where you can run these games now at a reasonable frame rate. It doesn't have to be the fastest thing ever. You can surely accelerate it to the point where it's ridiculous, but I like that stock plus experience, like I mentioned earlier. Like it runs like original, just a little bit better. Let's see, what other game did we copy? That's right, we copied Lemmings too. LHAX files. I guess I'm confused on the Lemmings files and the image, so we'll see what it does, I guess. They need to be in the same one, or how that works. And, that's the benefit, is like, so you look at it, I don't know if there's thousands of games, but it's got to be dang near it, if not over. But there's a lot of games on Amiga. That's what it ended up being, because it was kind of marketed originally as kind of like a multimedia machine for creative pursuits, as it were. I mean, Andy Warhol used the Amiga 1000 for his stuff, and it was a big deal in the 80s. But what happened is that when the Amiga 500 got popular, it turned into a home game machine. That's where it found the most success, and there were so many games for it. So if you're messing with an Amiga, you're probably going to be playing games. Not to say it's not a capable, like, multi-use computer for, your homework and all that stuff, but it did not find, like, the same business footing. Interesting enough, in the US, the Amiga 2000 and the 3000, 4000 found much better success, I think, because it was used by TV studios with the video toaster. A lot of the overlay effects you might have seen on like local radio or TV stations in the 90s were running Amigas to produce that because it was the cheapest way to get those kind of overlay effects. And I have the video toaster. I haven't messed with it, but you can then generate all the overlay that you would see on a TV back in the day, which is pretty impressive. So, well, there's the floppy game. So we'll see if it needs the files or not. We'll do it live. Yeah, you can look that up. He created a lot of, like, I don't know if he was, obviously he was paid by Commodore, I'm sure, but he created some art, and it was a big deal that he was attached to that when it came out, because we're trying to show, think about this, in 1985, what were the other computers doing? Well, you had the 8-bit machines, and they weren't that good at graphics. That was not a thing they could do yet, right? And then you had the Amiga 1000 comes out, and these custom chips are the same, and that's where kind of Commodore's downfall. They didn't iterate enough on it. But now you had the capability to produce like this music and the sound and these colors. It could have 256 colors on the screen at the same time. It just was very multimedia advanced. And that's what kind of the thing they pushed in the beginning, but they didn't find as much success because I don't think the Amiga 1000 sold that well. At least beginning. It was the 500 that really put them on the map, so. Yeah, I think those are the games we extracted. So, let's start with Frontier, as one does. The cool thing, too, you can do this, and now if you save snapshot all, it will save the position of the window, and it will save the position of all these drawers in there, and that's what they call these folders of drawers. And the fact that you could do this back then, too, you can organize everything nicely and just save it, and it sticks. It's a very impressive operating system. Now, we're running 3.1, which is a later version, but of course this machine is capable of running it, so. Alright, fingers crossed, this should work normally now. Let's see how loud it is. Yeah, this runs a lot faster than it would on a stock Amiga 500. Like, it's not even close. This is playable. I can't iterate or really emphasize how poorly this runs on a stock machine. And I mean, it was playable. And that's what we did back in the day, right? That's, again, my friend and I, we spent long, long hours doing space trucking and raiding and all that stuff for hours and hours on the stock machine. But this, in my mind, is how it ran, right? You look back at it, it did not run like this at all. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's any games really at all that use the FPU. It's virtually unused on the gaming front. That's why, because you gotta remember, like, games were coded for the common denominator, and that was the stock Amiga 500, which did not have an FPU. So, oh yeah, it's running great now, but at 33 megahertz, it can brute force through it. And the CPU is definitely getting hot. I need to get a heatsink to put on there. It doesn't need a fan, but a heatsink probably will help quite a bit there. Having the right audio volume there. But yeah, this is more than playable. And probably the more experience you'd get playing this on PC. I do have the PC box for this, actually. But this is on the Atari ST as well, and ran a little better. I think the performance there is a little better on 3D than the Amiga did, so... Right, this is fantastic. I mean, yes, a faster accelerator would run this even smoother and would push through all the slowdowns, but to me, again, I've said it so many times now, that stock plus experience. It's really close to the original, just better. That makes this playable and usable, and there's so many of these 3D games actually that benefit from an accelerator, so it is a nice thing to do. And again, this accelerator in this machine gives CPU boost, memory boost, and a hard drive. Because the 500 does not have a hard drive, or any way to use hard drive directly, so... I don't know. The thing I wonder with Elite Frontier 2 is that it pushes the polygonal count quite high. I mean, yeah, sure, it's basic graphics by today's standards. But there's a lot of detail, actually, in the effects and close-up and stuff. And I mean, it's even running. You can see, like, the screen is, like, a third is just a logo, because they couldn't do this full screen. It's impossible, so... But there's a lot of these polygonal 3D games on the Amiga. Flight sims above all, tons of them. Just an absurd amount of flight sims on here. It was just very popular. And that's what my friend played, my neighbor across the street. He played B-17 Fly Fortress for long hours. The funny part is here, I don't remember how to fly or do anything in this game. It is really challenging and it's difficult. This is a space... trading game, so you know you have to fly out and buy stuff. We can request permission to launch. Launch request. Granted. Take off. But I don't know how to fly. I don't know how to accelerate. Oh, that's a quit button, so that won't do it. Yeah, I don't know what the like how to accelerate. It's been so long, and this is a game you need a manual in front of you to play because it is super complicated. But if you haven't played a game like that before, it's a space trading game. You know, you fly different planets, you buy goods and stuff or whatever, fly to another planet, sell all the goods, fly to the next one, and you just kind of keep doing that. Let's check out Chaos Engine is good. We'll see if it can launch with 512K memory. Yes, it did. Chaos Engine is a good one, too. Another one that's really good is Hired Guns. That is a game that's challenging to play, perhaps, but the intro is phenomenal. But it's a really, really good intro music. One of the best intro musics on the old Amiga. This proved to be a very popular game, I believe, and sold really well. Very 90s. And this is 92, 93, so we're very much at, like, we're in the era now when the 1200 came out. The Amiga is on a downslope. It's just not keeping up anymore. So this is a developer that had done a lot of games on the Amiga, and they're now very comfortable with the machine and can produce something this good. This is a very polished game. Because Bitmap Brothers, they did the Speedball games too, and they were really good about doing polished experiences, so... This is weird, like, steampunk kind of thing. Hard-nailed mercenaries for hire. He is quite mad. Little bio on all of them here. Yeah, if you haven't experienced the Amiga library, it is highly recommended. If you like these kind of games, and 16-bit in general, it is probably the premier one to explore, because it has so many games, so many things to do with it. Emulate it, play on the Mister, use your Windows machine to do it, build a RetroPie specific for it, or, you know, get an original one too. That's a real Amiga is fun too, but definitely more of a hassle, as we've seen today. But it is fantastic to explore. Just about, yep. Well, it's fine. Let's get into the game. Everything should be sped up, of course, because, you know, there are some situations where you're playing a strategy game. And a strategy game is doing CPU turns and waiting, like Civilization will run faster on this machine because it has more grunt than the CPU. So, because the CPU is doing a lot of the work here in many of these games, right? Default guy. The mustache guy here. There we go. Oh, hang on. I think I know. We have to do... some of these things require some tweaking. Not all of these things just run automatically. So... some stuff requires a little bit of tweaking. Let's see. I think we can do... That's one that is good to put in. That forces it to run a certain way. Try again and see if that works. Otherwise, there's another one I can't remember. You have basically got certain switches that does certain things with memory that can avoid corruption or crashes, and that's, I think, what happened here. We'll see if we'll hop over the intro. All guys represent. Okay, come on, skip intro. Booting. Yeah, I'm gonna assume it initializes or fires off something at that point that crashes, so... Because a lot of these WG load things, they're reducing... Oh, crashes again. So there's a way... so... I forgot the command, but you can look in the preferences file here to find it. So it's... chip no cache. I think that's one that we want. Also a lot of problems. Yeah, some of these can help quite a bit, so. But it's a question of finding which one, because WHC load is not just an automatic, like, everything's going to work. I already forgot what the heck the... See, and I can multitask here now, so... Chip no cap. I'll try it again. I'll see. It's easy. And eventually we'll give up. But even with the WHC load, games aren't just like a turnkey. There's going to have to be some fiddling. But I think that honestly getting 1 mega chip RAM is going to help this machine a lot. And that's going to make a lot of these games run much better. Again, you have to do a solder change and then cut a trace. So the cutting of a trace I'm not super keen on doing live. I could do the soldering thing, not too bad. But finding a trace to cut... I gotta look at the schematic, so, because that's unique for each revision of Amiga, and this is the revision 5 motherboard, so. Any luck? There we go. Had to find the right switch. It's funny because this is a later Amiga game then, and it's got very good polish. You could tell. You mentioned.
Node activated.
Bitmap Brothers were really good at that at this point, but as a developer that didn't survive after the Amiga years. They disappeared after. Again, this is a game that would run on a stock A500, because that's, again, what they were targeting, right? So, I'm not sure if you guys are seeing the screen tearing too, or if it's just on my side, but I feel like I gotta mess with the capture a little bit at some point, but I haven't done anything with the new capture device, so... A little bit.
Special power.
Special power. Oh.
Special activated.
Oh. Get ready.
Layers activated.
It really did, and especially then, I mean, once they went that far and went to 3D systems, you had to make 3D games. It's like they couldn't keep doing... You had these companies that were really good at making like pixel art and 2D games and stuff. They could continue, they had to make 3D, right? And that was hard to transition, so... Really? So that music was actually used?
Layers activated.
Layers activated. And these arcade-style games are, of course, numerous on the Amiga, but again, where I feel like it really shone were some of the strategy games. There were a lot of, like, slower strategy-style games. I'm thinking, like, North and South is a really good one. I like that one quite a bit. Brent and I play that a lot. We have Megalomania, you know, we have Civilization, and I don't remember all of them, but there's so many of these, and also quite a lot of like business sim games, and the breadth of type of game on the Amiga is pretty ridiculous. Really hard to dodge in this game, so you gotta make a decision if you're gonna stand and shoot. Get killed by a frog.
Layers activated.
Yeah, I remember that too. It was just like, it was 3D or nothing.
Food. Special power.
Special power. Either way, it is a really fun platform to explore, because there are just, I think there's a game type for just about everyone on here. It was, and everyone was hopped up in the craze, right? Because you've been doing 2D games for all eternity at that point. It's 3D games were the hot new craze, and when you now could do 3D games at a reasonable frame rate, good 3D games, I mean, it took over everything. But it's a shame, because, you know, I know the Saturn, right, as an example, was decided, or was planned to be a 2D powerhouse, and it still is, or was. But then they, you know, shifted to 3D more. But you get games like, you know, say Castlevania or Symphony of Night, stuff like that were so good when you can use the full power to get the full 3D effects, or the full, like, good sprites and good 2D stuff, good memory.
Special power.
It's like we got robbed a little bit there. The sound on the Amiga is legendary too. The mod-based music, terrific. Especially when you start messing with some of the demos and whatnot. It's really, really fancy. I think what I need to do is that I probably need to take that memory card out and just like selectively drop some games on there, because having that huge list is not working. Where to go? Something new opened up here. Ah. A battle isle? Played that a lot with my friend. That was the first game I played in Amiga, because he had just gotten an Amiga 500. He disappeared for a while. I didn't see him after that for a while. And the first game he invited me to look at was Battle Isle. And he's like, this is a really complicated game. It's really hard, and, you know, whatever. He taught me the ropes, and I beat him on the first one. He was upset after that, but it's fine. Can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, right?
Node activated. Food.
Yeah, what I want to do now, like, besides this or whatever, I love the streaming stuff, but I do want to get the 1200 all fixed up, and we'll stream with that too. And I want to turnkey on my desk, so I can just, like, I want to play an Amiga game, turn it on, I have all the games loaded I want to load, or an easy way to get more games, and just play stuff. That's, I'm hoping to do that, because that's a big goal of mine with the existing retro stuff I have, is to have it turnkey so I can just sit down and play whenever. Really? It's a bummer. Ugh. Got a little bit of a Super Smash TV vibe here. Whoops. You did. Oh man, game over, huh? As far as I got. I'm not good at this game. It's still really good, but I'm not good at it. I've never gotten very far. But yeah, it's like, yeah, then, like that, game over. But it's nice too that it lets you experiment a lot with games, right? So, so Lemmings image. Let's go. Legendary game on Amiga. There's just no way around it. I feel like it helps sell systems. Lemmings was huge. Like the way it took the world by storm. Oh yeah, expansion RAM detect and utilized. You know it. Got the rich kid here. And that's what's happening is, right, it detects that the trapdoor memory it's installed, which is the extra 512K. Well, now the game has a meg available total. Remember right, they added this intro, and it actually added like a freaking floppy, or it was like a big deal to have an intro on here, so. Whee! Get it? They were climbing on the thing. You get it? But yeah, it put DMA Design on the map. DMA Design, which is now Rockstar, aka Grand Theft Auto. So, you know, those people. Oh my. Well, probably not a good look either way you look at it, so. Just dig. There it goes. This makes me wonder if this is running in PAL correctly, though, because it looks like a little... It's weird, too, because a lot of the things, like, they were expecting a CRT, so a lot of the screen modes are all over the place. Oh yeah, the SNES version is fantastic. Let's see if it tells me anything about the resolution right now. I'll mess with it later. I'm not going to dink around too much with the resolution stuff. I end up getting caught in that and like, oh, I got to have it perfect, but all right, game is playable, so. But the Amiga does have like just great sound chips, so. I'm not very accurate with the mouse, though. I never got very far on Lemmings either. My brother really loved it on the Super Nintendo, and he played it quite a bit. But then I ended up getting frustrated eventually and just, you know, can't say my Lemmings anymore. It's so complicated, some of the levels later. Now it's just teaching how to use it, but... Oh, we're going to do our first explosion. Lemmings was ported to virtually everything, I think. I'm trying to think of any system that could run Lemmings that didn't have it. Send me more Lemmings! Max Lemmings. I'm curious to see now, when we do the explosion thing, that creates a lot of particle effects. On the stock Amiga, it actually slows it down quite a bit. If the CPU can help with that now. There's that part too. If you played it all night and get tired of it, then you get to do the whole thing where you're trying to torture them or exploit them as easy as possible or whatever, so... There we go. How will I beat the game now? Oh no! Yeah, no slowdown there. If you nuke all of them at the same time, that is a heavy strain on the machine, but... I think honestly the CPU helps a lot there. And again, it doesn't feel like ridiculously fast. Just enhanced. These kind of like rapid bass lines, I think the Amiga excels at, or like just got a good set of sounds for that. I mean, it's sample based, but. In there. Yeah. I think anything can run Lemmings at this point, especially the original ones. But yeah, Lemmings has had so many versions and so many ports, but I don't know if they ever were able to capture the original success, right? There's been 100 different, like, level packs and, like, Lemmings of various degree, but that level of success they had in the beginning. Yeah. I know. I don't... Appliances is where the smart stuff it gets a little iffy. Because I know they talked about the Samsung fridges will have ads on them. Like, really? Really? Let's go. I love the animations too of them. They're great. And I believe the whole, if I watched some documentaries about it or like videos on it, the whole thing with the Lemmings, where it came from, was the fact they were trying to get as many like little, they had like a tech demo thing where they showed tiny sprites or characters like this, how they were moving. Get in there. There we go. And they were able to get like, you know, basically 100 of them running on the same screen without, you know, massive slowdowns. You think about how expressive the Lemmings are and how tiny they are. Because you have to have something that can have that many on there, and then that's where the game came from, or built around that, I believe. They had like it's like a single screen that shows a whole bunch of animations of like 100 Lemmings moving at the same time. And that prompted them to make the game, if I understand right, so... Nice. Yeah, I think... If you haven't played Lemmings, you must be aware of it. It is so... Sorry, my guy.
Oh no!
Wasn't meant to be. You think about how with the mouse, what it affords here too, it makes it a lot easier to play these kind of games, right? You can play with the controller, which works pretty well on the Super Nintendo. I remember you can use the shoulder buttons to kind of pan the camera, and you can hop around and stuff, and it works okay, but oh. Do it right. That one should take.
Oh no!
Yeah, there are... Yeah, if you look through the game library, and I think it's fun, for me, is when you go back, because there's a lot of, like, well-known games on here, but it's fun to just try random games, too. I take great enjoyment in that, just cycling through and finding names that look interesting, just booting up a game that you've never heard of, or, and often it's just not great, but sometimes you can find real fun games or gems, so... I know one should play. That's pretty iconic too. It's that music. It's so good. It's fascinating that because Commodore went with a custom chip here, they have actually, it feels like the Amiga is pretty over-engineered. But the competition, none of them had like this sort of music or sound capabilities. I don't want him to fall down, so... There we go. True, the X68000, but when did that come out? That was like 88 or something? Or was it later? I can't remember now. Fair, X68000 was one thing, but also was a much higher priced machine compared to the Amiga 500. When you look at it, what you got in the box. Like looking at as a either parent or someone who's buying a machine, yeah, that click, click, looking at, you know, someone who's going to get the machine for the family, the 500 is such a compelling package, so... We're on and getting our soda quick while the Lemmings finish that out, and we'll play something else. Boom. Microphone picked that up. All right, that's probably enough lemmings. I don't think better. We copy the rest here are like NTSC games. So let's see if we can get into the archive again. There's one game I wanted to grab. Yeah, it's funny because I had planned to sit like this. There's a screen here, and this is where I would stream normally and look at this direction. But because I can't get a display on that screen, I'm twisting like this, and I have a mouse. This is not exactly ergonomic. Then again, you look back at the 80s and 90s, how did we sit at our desks? Just ridiculous, so... There's James Pond as well, also kind of classic ones for... I had to remember where this was right now, so you see there. Empower. I'm trying to think about our good representative games here now, but so that's the problem. You look at the list here, and there's so many of them. The Jurassic Park game is pretty good. Copy a few here. I wonder if we can open... You know, I don't remember, or no, actually. The later versions of Amiga that came much later than this, you can mess around with that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I don't know if you can mess around with that here, honestly. Now, of course, I open the S folder again here, so... I was wondering if I can just navigate this without opening the quick view, which maybe uses less memory when they're in icon form like this. It feels like enumerating the list when I created the name or the detail list was bad, so... Hey, Team Vendor, welcome back. Yeah, it's still an Amiga and it hasn't smoked yet, so that's a good sign. Played a couple games. We're trying to just get a few more games from the game archive here. Just running into some memory limitations because of that, so... But we played Lemmings, and only a few Lemmings perished. So, it's all for the greater cause. Some of you may die, but I'm willing to make that sacrifice. Got my soda. It's like awful light. Oh, there's a new one. So yeah, like I mentioned a couple times now, I think that once the chip memory upgrade has been done, drawback you get from doing that is that you now have to have the expansion memory in to boot the Amiga once you do that, but you know, that's going to be the case. You probably aren't going to be using it without that, so yeah, that's true. I keep forgetting about that too, because where we run into issues here is like I wasn't a user of the Amiga back in the day, right? So all these like tools and utilities. Oh, that's a super frog right there. Saw it a second ago. It's having some problems here now with them. No. That's no. Goodness, it's having trouble here with the... Yeah, it really can. And it's, you run into limitation that it's not expecting us to have... I'm blind, right? I see it right there, but... It's not playing nice with so many... Do some command lines, so... Try... Copy. Yeah, I did that earlier, but ran out of memory, and it just crashed. And that's my fault, really, because this has a massive folder of, like, games in here, and that's, of course, not very nice to enumerate here. That's why it's running into problems. So I need to clean this up and or just transfer games that I'm going to play versus I figured I just put a game archive and I can just grab out of there. But there's just too many in this folder, and I think that's what's killing us here. So, especially this S folder has, like, a lot of games start with S, so there's tons in here, and that's running into issues. I do have enough memory to just copy it here, but I'm assuming it has it enumerates. Oh, yeah, it created a copy, so that's what I was wondering. Okay, so we can do that. There you go. Oh, we have Super Frog. Yeah, you did the text earlier, and I did the view by here, and I did that, but it still ran out of memory, so that's the problem. I need to clean that out and make it less gargantuan, I think. Okay, so I got a couple more games. Super Frog. Grab the Empower. There's so many games I'm not thinking of right now. I do want to grab you by name. I'm trying to play North and South as well with the PAL versions. I did like that game quite a bit. Yeah, it's such a fun game playing with friends or multiplayer and playing two people. We had many battles. Files. Extracted that one. Delete. Delete. As the thing, I'm not very good at, like, using this stuff, I'm just... There are so many better ways to do it than what I'm doing, because I never used Amiga that much. We just played games, like, and more often than not, we just booted from floppy. He did not have a hard drive, like most people didn't. He had the external... I'm just deleting the extraction files. I've already extracted them, so... Yeah, we already played Frontier earlier because we had to, because you do that on an accelerated Amiga. But he had the external floppy drive, so that's what we did a lot of time, was just, playing floppy games, and that's all. He had a drawer full of copied games, I mean, legally acquired games. Rename this. I can extract it easier. But yeah, I need to install a directory opus, because this is just super slow, whatever. Director Opus is like Northern Commander, right? It's pretty... I messed with it a little bit, but it's pretty close to that, so... Yeah, there are a few, like Gloom, Alien Breed 3D, but they all pretty much need... yeah, exactly. You talked about exactly the same there. But you pretty much need the Amiga 1200 to run that, or at least an accelerated, faster one. I guess this could run some of that, but a lot of that, or at least several of the games, I think, rely on AGA, which this computer is not capable of. So basically, there's multiple layers of the Amiga video chipsets, and the AGA that came with the 1200, they like, you can't run games that were designed for that on here. But there weren't that many AGA games, I think, by comparison to the OCS games, the original ones. So. Yeah, I'm sure there's much better, faster ways to do all this that I'm doing. I'm doing a very slow manual process, but... It's like you can kind of select the games you want to drop here, right? Versus just like, there's 1,000 games, but I want to build up this better. Once I have figured out the chip RAM upgrade here, then I'm going to button this machine up and have it, like, ready to use and actually like get it configured and set up. But I'm also getting the memory for the 1200 tomorrow, which is 8 megabytes expansion, which should let me actually play AGA games with WHD load because I can't even do that now. That is a major blocker right now for me using that machine, so should be here tomorrow. But it's been fun for me because while my neighbor then had an Amiga 500 stock, or with the 512K upgrade, an external floppy drive, I never used a computer. He basically like, here's the game, let's play the game. And getting used to and learning Amiga OS has been fun because I have basically I've installed Amiga from scratch, like on my 2000, and learned those things, learn hard drive partitioning and learning to use the OS a little more. Now I'm still inefficient and sluggish and slow, but I'm understanding and learning how Amiga OS is built up and how you can use it. So getting more comfortable with it. And it's a really, really nice OS to use, especially considering the time. Now we're upgraded to 3.1 here, but I haven't tried the newer 3.22 or whatever. I have not tried that at all, so I'm not sure if it's worth doing that or not. I know it has some fixes and some things that are better, but if I want to just play games, I get a feeling that 3.1 is plenty. But for those that aren't aware, basically Amiga, the last official version of Amiga OS from Commodore was 3.1 before they went under. And then there's been several people that have kind of claimed Commodore or Amiga OS and further developed it, but there is a new one, 3.22, that's pretty recent that lets you run basically newer bug fix codes and stuff like that on an old machine. So, what else did I grab? Super Frog. Yeah, that's what I wonder. So that's the thing. I need to get the chip RAM thing figured out because that's limiting this machine above all. But then that's for what I need the A500 for. Then I think it's gonna be perfect for me. It's just a Amiga OS 3.1. Get it all loaded up with games. 1 mega chip RAM, 4 meg of fast RAM, and yeah. So. Yeah, I also will admit that I will probably focus on the 1200 here mostly now because I want to check out AGA games, and something I never experienced because my friend only had the 500 and I was out of the game, as it were, with the Amiga by then. I was into PC, for sure, consoles as well. But yeah, by the time that the Amiga 500 was outdated, my friends have already parked it and retired it. I knew very few people that stuck with the Amiga. They went with Macintosh, or the PC was the one that most people had that I knew at that point. The 46s just came in strong and took over the market, of course, and the rest is history, as they say. Good question. Maybe I should do that. I guess we could do a spooky Amiga stream, maybe. There's probably some spooky games. We've done a Christmas stream for Amiga, because there's so many Christmas games on the Amiga system. I don't know why, but see if this runs here now. It's a neat one. Chris Hillsbeck music. Fantastic music, but this is a pretty well polished, what I call like almost like a Euro jank platformer. There's so many of these kind of games on the Amiga with really big sprites and maybe a little overambitious, but they really do. Especially the original games are fantastic. Chris Hillsbeck has entered the house. What I like with AGA is there's just a lot of new games coming out that use the AGA chipset. And that's the stuff I want to experience. There's brand new games coming out, new demos, stuff like that, that all, or many of them are using. I think there's a new engine available. Haha, touche. Chris Hillsbeck is just a god. He made the Amiga just sing. I don't think I've heard any Hillspec tracks that are like, ew, this is bad. He's just amazing. It's a really polished, honestly, platformer. And you can see it was pretty late, too. It was 1992. And again, it's running... the game itself is not great, but there's a lot of games like this that are like... insta-death. God. Made to use a trainer for unlimited... Oh, yeah. Okay, game over. Very polished game, very difficult, but you can use the cheats, of course, to get further. Oh man, took a while to load that, like the you loser screen. I'll blame that I'm playing through the capture. I mean, it was clear that, so. But I would probably like to get a controller that maps the up to a button, because the up to jump is very challenging, especially when the controller is pretty worn out and it's hard to do it accurately. I feel that's kind of a curse in a lot of the Amiga games, where, you know, they're trying to do a platforming thing and it doesn't work so well because of it. Yeah. I got past that one part. I like that in Turkin, a lot of the voices you hear is Chris Hillspec himself talking to something. Away from you, dog thing. Ah! Come on. The gun is so weak. Yeah, the music is so good. Oh, nah. Alright, now I got a stronger gun. I'm gonna die immediately. Woo. You do not need toxic. Focus now on getting somewhere. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Far to be terrible. There's a YouTube channel called Up Is Not Jump. Fully make fun of that. But it's a very good, like, gaming. Can't hard to describe it now, so focus on the not to die here for. Get away from you, wing monster! Jump is so short too. Made it. Shields. Can't touch me now. Do not drop those things there. What I find with this game is that, like, yeah, the polish is there, but it's got a weird color palette. I feel like a little bit of a strong color. Jamie C? this is just top tier crystal spec. Like many of the Amiga things, these games are alright, they're so-so. They put a lot of effort into this one, but I think it's a boss here. There he die. Do anything else? I don't know, that's right, that's probably a good way to describe it. It is very vibrant, and I think it's about the same. It's actually even more piercing. Playing this on CRT, it's just the colors feel very, very strong. Vibrant is probably a good way to put it, but they are sharp color palettes somehow. A CGA action going on almost. Well, I had planned to die here pretty quickly, but I think I'm gonna... run's gonna be over here pretty soon. There we go. That was it. Game over, and then over. It's like, I love those retro games where you're just like, well, sucks to be you're gone. As a kid, and you just start over the game from scratch, right? Yeah, the music is top tier, but I like this game just for what it represents, I guess, more than the actual play of it. This is not a game I would sit down like, I'm gonna play Jim Power. But it's fun to show off because the music is top tier, of course, but then the visuals are just really interesting, but it's very late in the Amiga's lifespan here. This was 92. At that point, we're in, you know, 1200 territory, so... Yep, you don't have a choice. Get good. I did super... Yep. So, long story short, my parents had a place where you could rent, like, VHS tapes when I was a kid, so... Because I was a kid then, I ended up watching a lot of videos, the 80s, and I watched all the VHS tapes they had at a rental place, basically. And that became like a known thing, so, you know, my teacher in first grade, I still have this ingrained in my memory. It's like, she said in front of the whole class, oh, you watch so much video, your eyes will turn square. I'm like, and people were laughing. It's like, thanks, that's very supportive, saying thing to a kid. And I think to myself, like, now, as a parent, like, oh my god, I wouldn't say that to my kid, or have a teacher say that in front of the class, but... 80s were a different time, man. Super Frog. Really? Blue second button jumps. Can you do that? Try it. Supports actual second button jumping. What is it with, like, because these, you know, they have two buttons. And they do the same thing. But a lot of the systems from this era, they all have a single button, so... I played this because it was my neighbor's birthday, and we gave him an Amiga format magazine, or whatever equivalent was, and had a cover disc with a demo Super Frog. That's the first time I saw it. You know, I love Turrican 1 and 2, but... There's one major thing that I don't like about them. There are no iframes. If you get touched by an enemy, you lose so much health, and you're pretty much dead immediately. And I wish there was an iframe, or like a stop. Like most other games, when you get hit, you know, you stopped. And then you kept going. You have a few seconds to recover, but... Magic wood. So. Oh, yeah, I rebound the thing. I don't have the second button, so I have to redo that because I cannot jump. Let's make sure that's not checked this time. I do not have a blue second button. I think they're expecting maybe the CD32 controller, which has an extra button, right? But yeah, I think the next thing's gonna have to be to buy a controller, which feels like it goes against the grain a little bit, but it's not like these go away. But a lot of these platformers will be vastly improved if you had a button to jump, by far. That's oddly specific, Jamie, you see there. Let's try it again now. I like it to fall down from where your lives are. I always wonder why Super Frog is like Sonic, because he runs super fast. I do, but I also, from what I understand, right, it's not good to plug that in direct. Oh, can't make that jump, apparently. Did he drink Newcastle there? Oh, I forgot about Zool, too. There's a few, like sponsored platformers, almost. Oh. Because you have, like... Oh, that was an actual life. We had like Cool Spot, and Zool is like a Chupa Chups, whatever. And what is with platforms in this day? Like, I know the premise or whatever, but so many of these games are just freaking hard. Fine. And, one thing I never understood with games like Sonic is like they almost penalize you for going fast. You have to memorize where stuff is and you'll run into things and... Oh. Hard to control, yeah. Might be a lot easier with a gamepad. I just remember watching this and or seeing that my friend was playing it and was like, well, it looks like Sonic, so... Especially the run thing. Frog gives you wings. Yeah, like that. Full speed ahead and then like, nuh-uh. Apparently I cannot go through the exit. I found whatever I need to find. I need 10 more coins, maybe. Yep. Oh, I died. Game over. Pretty much, yeah. It seemed like a Super Frog was I seem to remember like a big deal. As far as like speed goes. Haha. Try one more time. You can also enable the trainer stuff from the WHD load menu and give infinite lives, stuff like that. But still, these are enjoyable games. It's just memorization. Get through here? I see, you have to get enough coins to... Getting invested now. Can't get any higher than that, though. Something like frog. solid platformer. It's just a little let down by its aversion to being able to use speed here, but let's frickin' bees out of here. The apple, I don't know, is this points? I don't know what they do. Oh, touch that thing. Can't touch this. Don't know what that R is, but I want it. More over here. Feels like I'm missing stuff here now. Very much Sonic vibes in the sense you have to explore the level to find everything you need. And again, it penalizes you for going fast there. What do you need money for? Yeah, the thing with the Amiga is just that there's so many, so many, you know, unexplored games. Like, yes, there's a ton of heavy hitters and good ones and ones that are famous, but there's a lot to find in this platform. So, all right, thanks for stopping by, JBZ. Have a good night shift. Come on, like this enemy placement, what's this about? There's no way to get through here without getting knocked. Oh. Gamble? Freaking frogs gambling. One World 1. Task Force, I haven't heard about that one. My friends and I played Space Crusade quite a bit. We're never good at it, but we love the atmosphere and the visuals of that game felt really good. Like, I love isometric games. Woohoo! Secret! And I'll say it, this is a good platformer. There's a reason why Super Frog is pretty popular. We're in Kansas anymore. It's just like a Newcastle beer. It gets all the energy back. Took a page from Mega Man and made the Spikes insta-kill. And I have I'm playing, of course, on a flat panel now because I'm watching my own capture to play it. But I do have a Commodore monitor that I'm going to play all this on, a 1084S. I just recapped and it came out pretty okay. I need to do some more work on it, but it looks really good on there, even in its current, like, kind of diminished state. Whoops. That stupid bee. Yeah, I can see getting invested in this one. I mean, it's called Jazz Jackrabbit vibes. Oh, touch Spike's dead. A little challenging, though. Platformers gotta be challenging. I just think of the, like Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, like the game. Oh, touch that. That game over. That's probably it for that one. on NES or whatever. It's just really well made, it's enjoyable, and it's not too hard. And it's like, I wish more games took that approach. Like, not all of them have to be super hard, but that's how they got longevity, I suppose, was just making them difficult, so... I will say that the GBS control makes it sure a heck of a lot easier to capture and stream this stuff than it does doing direct capture, which it can do, is just a pain in the butt, so... Yeah, Space Grid is really, really cool. I just remember my friend and I really liked the atmosphere, and then the visuals of it was really good. It felt like just a very well-made game. Jurassic Park. I'm curious about this one because I saw it mentioned on like almost like a hidden gem. Not that Jurassic Park as a property is a hidden gem, but yeah, I think that Super Frog is definitely aimed more towards the younger audience, I would say. So. Select the language. Cheerio. British. Gotcha. I could have sworn I heard that this was, or was there an AGA version of this? Because there's one that has, oh yeah, the AGA version. Doesn't it add like 3D? That's maybe the one I was thinking of. This is top down, right? Yeah, I was thinking of the... Yeah, remember when Grant walked around and shot all the dinosaurs? Remember that? Happened. Oh, my soft locked or stuck? Go. 10 out of 10. Absolute cinema. And really? I climb these things? Oh, you can, okay. That will do it. Oh. Too bad a mosquito killed Dr. Grant, so... I'm gonna be out of ammo here soon. Oh, good lord, cattle prod now. It's like a Super Nintendo version. I always felt the Super Nintendo version was pretty good for what it was. It was just really, like, creepy, the mood they did, and then they had the 3D sections too on Super Nintendo, and those were really creepy. Something to that you might notice if you're not familiar with the platform is that the sound can only be, you can't do music and sound effect at the same time. It uses the same audio, so you really sometimes the music kind of cuts out unless it's well designed to handle that. The game has to be kind of thoughtfully designed. I mean, Chris Hillswick is really good at that. And you wouldn't even notice, but yeah, this is take some time, huh? Grant, we're here to preserve the dinosaurs, not kill all of them. What is it with all the ridiculous action games, like the Genesis one, is really difficult, for example. I won't play a little bit, but it's the game that they made during the time, or like style at the time. But I remember, I mean, I was a kid right at this came out, and the media blitz and the merchandising blitz that was Jurassic Park was ridiculous. All of a sudden, everyone had a freaking Jurassic Park backpack and a lunchbox and erasers and all that stuff. Probably prefer Chaos Engine when it comes to over-top They can't cattle prod dinosaurs in Chaos Engine. Go back. Yep, enjoy. I have no idea where I'm going. Being killed by mosquitoes. Yeah, this is probably not the best one to end on, but... Oh. I feel like I should play one more better game. Kind of want to get the install Space Crusade now, though, because that is although it's on the S category, so that might be difficult to install it. Trying to think of another game, one that we can end on, maybe. Say, what do we think when we say Amiga as far as games go? Probably the Turkin, thinking some of the strategy games. I forgot, North and South, we installed that. I need to play that. That's going to be our last game, I think. Where did that go? I didn't extract it. That's where it went. Nope. Did I? Oh, I gotta go to the right directory. I'm all tired, I think. No. Did I extract it already? Did I not rename it? I did not. That's why. Okay. Try this again. Bruce Lee, yep, still at it. Probably not to call here pretty soon now. But it's been really fun to mess with the Amiga. It is not a ergonomic setup, but I'm managing. There we go, first try. Hopefully this runs now. Hey Brian, welcome. Yeah, Nuclear War is a really fun game too. Yeah, PP, it's, what's it called? Well, I forgot what we played early. It was PP Hammer and his pneumatic weapon. So, you know, take that information and do what you will. But that's the actual subtitle of the game. So, you know. Let's see. Button. Update. Hopefully we have enough RAM. Yeah, we do. Hammer time. I love PP Hammer. My friend had it, and he didn't play much, but then I played it. Oh, there's another one I played quite a bit too on his Amiga. It was Lost Dutchman Mine. That was on other platforms as well, but I did enjoy that game a lot, and it was like you're building up over time. There it is. Yeah, that's way past that, probably. So much character. We'll do all the stuff and... The music in this is really good too. You need to move and seize territories. Now they move. You can, of course, fight over it, so... Oh, that's right, I need to, I forgot. The primary thing you should go is after railroads. It's been so long as I played this, but... You get money from the railroad station, so you need to seize those as quickly as you can. Seize them, but now we're gonna fight. Boom! I am gonna be so bad at this, it's been so long. I forgot how to switch to... There's like a rock, paper, scissors thing going on here, but I forget how to switch the... Oh. Yeah, I completely forgot how to switch the... Oh, it crashed. Oh well. That's the thing. A lot of these are not as turnkey as you might want. But yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's Shift or Alt or whatever. Something like that, because you got to switch. So there's like a rock, paper, scissors thing there. So you have basically the horses are fast, but are melee only. The infantry can shoot pretty short, and the cannon can shoot really far, but then you have to move back and forth. So, yeah, I think so. That was getting tired now, losing out things and memory, whatever. But yeah, that game is super fun when you're playing two-player, you know, hot seat or whatever against each other. I remember playing that quite a bit. Because you have sections where, for example, you are assaulting like a fort, and then the other player can try and sabotage you, and you have to make it there to the end to capture a fort. And there's a lot of mechanics in that game, and it's really, really fun, actually. But still, it's kind of like a weird game sometimes. A game of the era and time, perhaps. But now, we have our... yeah, I think this is the Outrun... NTSC, right? Try and run it. Set it to NTSC, but we clearly have some problems with that. Okay, NTSC is already in there, so cool. Yeah, it won't boot, unfortunately. I need more memory for cannon fodder. Sadly. It needs 1 meg. It won't run as is with the 512K. Isn't the Outrun port here terrible?
Sega Computer Software presents.
That is music.
Outrun.
I see why you picked that one now. There's the actual magical sound shower. Like an improved C64 version almost, but... Yeah. I seem to recall this is one of the worst ports ever. And from what I understand, there's a new version coming out, like an AGA one, right? That was seen people talk about it, so that it's a good port. It was reported. That needs like a pretty beefy machine to run, I think. Oh my god. Yeah. I see what they mean, that this is one of the worst ports like ever of Outrun. Turn! I think we're turning. Now we're going 250 kilometers an hour. Absolutely, a Ferrari will do. Wow. And there's a lot of good scalar racers on the Amiga, so... It probably did. It runs so choppy. Yeah, music is alright. But if you played Outrun in arcades and you got this for birthday or Christmas and came home to play this or whatever, that would be disappointing. It plays really choppy. I mean, it plays as smooth as it looks, I would say. I feel like the Sega Master System would do a better job than this. But like many, you know, ports are limited by resources or whatever, but yeah, that's... Okay. But yeah. There we leave on that, but there's the Amiga 500 with the new Fat Agnes chip to let us do PAL games, so that's a worthwhile upgrade. And then the next step then will be to do the chip RAM, which I'll do separately. So, because I don't want to solder right now here on stream. I do have to get some memory chip coolers, I think, for these, because the CPU on here gets pretty hot. I know only the 50 megahertz one needs a fan, but I think that heatsink would do wonders for this one. So, yeah, it's fun to be back in streaming again. Hush with that game. The nice part now with the mixer board here, I can turn that stuff up and down much easier now than I did before. Yeah, that's true. Tired soldering. You also soldering I'm not too worried about. You got to cut a couple traces, permanent modification to change out the memory on this, and that will be the one that I'm a little nervous about. I guess I would have to be under a good light. So, but yeah, it was fun to be back streaming again. We'll stream more. Next week, I'll have to see. I'm not sure if it's going to be every week, but I definitely like to try. It's been a while. I'll have to get back into it. I want to work on videos again. It's just that it's so permanent. That's the biggest thing. And I know you can do trace repair. You can drag solder to kind of bridge the gap, or solder in a wire if you need to, if you have to repair it. But, yeah, the permanency of it is a little unsettling. Not that I don't see any reason to reverse that modification on this machine, but it is what it is. So, but thanks everyone for tuning in. It was fun to get back. There have been a lot of people coming and going tonight, which is awesome. Apparently the notification system from YouTube worked somehow. I am not one of the best outrunners, as you can, yeah. Hey, John, sorry, yep. It's all right, we'll stream again. I'm going to have to make some content. I feel I want to make a video very soon again. I've kind of got that itch, so we'll make a video. For now, thanks everyone for hanging out, and thanks for watching, chatting, all that stuff, and I will see everyone again later for more Amiga streams, I'm sure, in the future, especially a 1200 hint. So, all right, thanks everyone. Have a good night. I'll see you next time. Yeah, it's been so long I had to find the off button. There's the off button. Good night.